X-Men fans who know the characters from the animated series love Jubilee and consider her a great character. On the other hand, those of us who have read the comics know that long before the pyrotechnic mutant, Kitty Pryde was the quintessential teenage mutant. Being a character much loved by readers and having been Wolverine's first companion, Shadowcat is a logical choice to appear in the animated series. So why didn't Kitty Pryde ever appear in X-Men the animated series? For those who don't know, the first attempt to adapt the X-Men into a television series was in a pilot called Pride of the X-Men, from 1989. Marvel believed that with this pilot they could convince a television channel to produce the mutant series. However, the pilot did not receive the support that was expected. This had many differences from the later series. As you can see, the character designs were based on the stage prior to Jim Lee's arrival, and the team was made up of Cyclops, Storm, Wolverine, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Dazzler and Kitty Pryde. The pilot had pretty good animation for its time and several well-known voice actors. However, the project had a fairly simple plot, and many people who have seen the pilot say that it is too cheesy like a generic 80s series. The pilot failed and no studio was interested in producing an X-Men series. In 1990, Fox decided to make an animated series about mutants and they used the comics from the 90s as a base, since to this day, it is considered the best era of mutants. This is the main reason why Kitty did not appear in the series. In the late 80s, Marvel decided to create a publishing division in the United Kingdom. To support their new project, they sent some of their most popular characters to that region to star in new titles. Kitty left the X-Men title in 1987, to join the Excalibur roster. For fans, this new title was not very important, since it was rarely necessary to read it to understand the continuity of the mutants. Even the return of co-creator Alan Davis wasn't enough to attract some readers. Not many years after its release, Excalibur was cancelled and Kitty returned to the main X-Men title. But years earlier, during the development phase of the animated X-Men, Kitty's dominance within the franchise had faded. In 1992, Jubilee already appeared in the X-Men comics, although not as part of the main team, but rather as a secondary character. The producers of the series believed that it would be the logical choice to include her in the program as a youthful character with whom the public could identify. With this, Jubilee took Kitty's place within the series, but throughout the series we saw cameos from characters like Colossus, Copycat, Blink and Mimic. So why didn't we get a Kitty cameo? The answer was revealed by showrunner Eric Lewald in his book, Previously on the Series, after the poor reception it had in Pride of the X-Men. In short, the reason why Kitty did not appear in the X-Men animated series was because Marvel decided to eliminate the character after the harsh criticism she received in the Pride of the X-Men pilot, in addition to the fact that there was lost a lot of popularity after leaving the mutant comics. As a result of this, much of Kitty's personality and some of her adventures were recycled into the character of Jubilee, and we can see this from the first episode. At the beginning of the series we have a sequence in which Jubilee accidentally destroys an arcade game, which evokes a classic Kitty Pryde moment. Uncanny X-Men number 180 features Kitty, with her friend Doug Ramsey, achieving the highest score in an arcade game. A score so high that it fries the board and ends the game. Night of the Sentinels reinvents the scene with Jubilee in the leading role. Lacking Kitty's vast intellect and computer skills, Jubilee uses her powers to destroy the arcade. The end result is the same: a grumpy arcade manager who berates the mutant and kicks her out of the place. Uncanny X-Men number 153 introduced us to Kitty Pryde telling a story to a group of boys where she portrays herself as a brave pirate. This same story was adapted in the last season of the original series with Jubilee as the protagonist, but instead of a pirate, she was a kind of adventurous elf. As we said, Marvel decided to omit Shadowcat from the original series, but she still managed to appear in other series like X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men. Today, Kitty's popularity has increased again and we may see her in a future season of X-Men, 97. For now, that's all for this video. In the description you can find the links to the sources of this video, as well as to our social networks. Tell us if you are fans of Kitty Pryde and if you would have preferred her to be the protagonist of X-Men the animated series instead of Jubilee. If you are fans of the pyrotechnic mutant and want to know more about her origin story, I recommend watching the video that is appearing on the screen right now.